Everybody. So we got Lynn and Kimberly, David, and Frank. Not a lot of people so far. Maybe a few more tune in. Welcome to the show. We've got the end of the first half of 2025 coming up. That's the end of the quarter, second quarter, first half. We've got PCE coming in on Friday. And what? The market keeps grinding higher. The market keeps grinding higher. So, what do we expect to happen? Well, today's Powell testimony, no bearing at all on the market. Didn't seem to matter one bit. Nothing seems to matter much, really. Everybody's saying the market was going higher because of the ceasefire, but it seems like the ceasefire that never ceased fire. I don't know. Based on reports I was seeing, nothing changed. Trump just got mad and everything just kept humming right along. And we might see a new all-time high, which completes the pattern from 2007. It's not what I want to see right here. What I'm talking about is the fact we're coming up very quickly here. Very quickly. Here I am moving all my alerts. Awesome. Love it. That should have been up here somewhere. And this dip right here. Check it out. See that dip right there? Look at it. Look at that. Look how we chopped into the first drop down the roadmap line. Right there. Then we're popping up. If we make a higher high, that could be the end right there. I'm concerned. Like, color me concerned. This is not the path and pattern that I wanted to complete. Would much rather do something that punts this down the road quite a bit longer, but looks like we might wrap it up sooner than later on the upside. How high could we extend it? It's a matter of debate, I guess. You know, over here we went a fair bit higher. We actually, when you bring it over, we went on up for a couple candles. So if we poke out this week, we could extend it up another couple weeks potentially. Could get spicy to the upside, but could lead to a massive pullback. And in 2007, we saw a 57% pullback, 58% essentially. That would put us down here around 2,600. That's roughly where we bottomed out during COVID. Make this whole last 6 years, you know, just nothing right there. Just a bunch of nothing. That'd be kind of wild right there. That kind of move would be pretty wild to me. So what we're talking about is the way that the market topped right here looks just like what we have right now. That pullback, pretty vicious. This pullback could be pretty vicious. Pretty vicious. Might come even down here. And color me concerned. I'm concerned. Definitely concerned about what's coming next. So we've got a few upside potential squiggles left. We obviously haven't done this at this point. Really wanted to see a 3-wave down. Didn't do it. In the face of the market not doing what you want, you just stick to your primary. So we have the potential to rally on up to 63, 61. Watch out for that all-time high there. We break through. that becomes the target. Then we'll have to watch for the next pullback. See what develops. Could lead to a much bigger, deeper, nastier correction. Not what I'm hoping for, but that's what's on the chart right there. Definitely. So we've got PCE coming up on Friday. I don't really think it's going to matter much. You know, inflation's not been, the market hadn't really cared about inflation, hadn't really cared much about much of anything. Not even really been caring or reacting much to anything Trump says or does lately. Just been grinding sideways to slightly bullish. We've just been in this. You know, we were quite enthusiastic back here. We were quite enthusiastic. You know, we were making some big moves. And then the last month or so, just been grinding. Relatively tight. Not very big moves. It makes it tough when you're trying to trade. And I got put some shares of this on this dip right here. And looking to cash them out at the target right up here. Not far to go. That'd be a pretty sweet one right there. Other ones, Nike. I have some puts down here. And this one has earnings coming up right here on Thursday. Might get a pop. Kind of a primary expectation, although we did reject the gap fill right there. But the next attempt through, it put us right up here. And we have that gap fill we're going to have to contend with right there. And so I'm a little bit bullish on this. Even if we get a dip, that 618 should hold there. And I would expect to bounce to the roadmap line. I think we've pretty much bottomed out in Nike. That's what that looks like. Tesla's been a pretty big mover with the robo-taxi stuff. Big pop yesterday, a little bit higher high today, and giving it back. And I kind of speculated that we might see this first move down, second move down on this time frame. Of course, it could be on the bigger time frame also. We have this giant big move down that we did from, I guess, late December into April, and we've rallied pretty strongly up till now, and we could get an echo of that move that would take us down to like 100 here. Not great. Let's see, other Mag 7 stuff, just not non-committal on Apple. Even though we're drifting close to high all-time highs, Apple is not participating. Apple has been, for years, Apple, like the saying's been, can S&P go to all-time highs without Apple? Well, we're pretty darn close to it, and Apple's down here messing around at 200, 60 points off its all-time high. Basically. Not participating. Not even, it's almost like the entire market lost interest in Apple right here. Even Amazon, not really very close to the high, and has a first move down, second move down potential, just like Amazon has Apple has a first move down, second move down potential. Google even being lackluster here. So really, Microsoft is the only one pushing us to new highs here. Upside target 508. Meta hanging out near the highs, but has that first move down, second move down potential in that chart also. Nvidia hanging out near highs, but it is a fairly significant lower high so far. You could say $4, but every buck on Nvidia is a $25 billion. $24.4 billion for every dollar this goes higher. It's $24.4 billion flowing into that stock. It's just kind of wild. So $4 is $100 billion. And that's not insignificant. Now we could see a large pullback. And the PE and PS has come back down into reasonable territory here, so could have upside. Not saying it's got downside, it just might not be pushing out to all-time highs. Caution. I would be cautious here. And that's kind of the scope of the Mag 7s there. Now, we usually hit some futures and stuff like that. Yes, we've just been chopping along, chopping higher. Chop, chop, chop. Got this upside target up here around 62.50. If, I don't really expect us to go above 6,600 if we're really going to get spicy. I've been really expecting a pullback because this is not bullish for continuation here at this point. It's really extended. The pullback's going to be vicious. What's going to cause it? Not sure. Now, this was the highest close on Nasdaq today. Highest close ever, pretty much. So, is that the thing that ends it? I don't know. This could push on up to, set to going up to 23,000 at this point. Russell still way below all-time highs. Way below. And we're just grinding in this area. We haven't even gotten above what we were in just a couple of days ago in June. Things could get really spicy. We did break down below the uptrend of lows, and we're still back testing that right now. If this pushes back lower for whatever reason, things could get really spicy to the downside. Oil coming into that support zone. I talked about this morning. We basically did what looks like a sloppy 5 up. Very quick. Retrace back down to the 618 zone. This is the resistance zone. This is the lows from all the way back in, it was May of 23. We busted through it right back here in April. Kind of tested into it, and finally ripped through. Now we're coming back and testing it from above. If we can find support there, probably going higher. Oil could easily get up into the 90 to 100 area very quickly. Just as fast as it came down, it can go right back up there. And be very careful. And it looks a lot the same on this chart too. So both of these charts look very similar. Very similar. This is Brent. This is European oil. That came down in 2 days. Find support and bounce. Could be pretty crazy. And gasoline, look at that drop on gasoline. Holy guacamole. That is a violent reversal on gasoline. We got right up to that 240 extension at that 1618 and then reversed it violently. Let's kind of clear this chart up a little bit. I've thrown a lot of things over the last, but let's just kind of give it a real solid look here. Sloppy move. This has been the low all the way back here in September of 24. There's our high, 3-wave retrace. It's just a sloppy, very, very sloppy price action here. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And just a set of threes and threes and threes. So this whole thing could be potentially just a correction. It tagged right at what might be that being a correction, that being a correction, that being a correction, and that tag right there could be it. We could get a nominal lower low. Could actually see a nominal lower low in gasoline prices right here before this thing bottoms out. Right there. We've seen wholesale price of gasoline drop from basically 240 2 days ago to 207 today. Pretty massive move. Not unprecedented, but pretty massive move. And we did see something like that right back over here on Liberation Day. It looks almost like a twin right there. Heating oil, diesel fuel. Also a massive drop from 267 down to 220, so 47 cents drop. Let's kind of look at that one too. Remove all the drawings, just kind of remove any prior bias I had on here. Give it a look, see. That looks like we completed the downside here. So this one has a different structure off the lows than gasoline. Gasoline's been kind of sloppy overlapping. This one has a low and has a high. Has that seemingly, this one's more similar to oil right here. We've got this move up. We've got this retrace. If we hold this support zone right in here, we might see this actually bounce and go higher. It could be in a big way right there. Well, gasoline doesn't appear to be doing something crazy at the moment. We could see this spike like this, consistent with oil. Natural gas has been chopping, and I kind of expect this to continue in this channel, chopping along probably through, October, November, December timeframe. Maybe spike a higher high right around $5 before we go into the next down cycle next year. It's a seasonality thing. Hey, got the downside. Hello, I subscribe, but I still can't find Discord link on my membership area. Membership area is at members.prosperitypub.com. Members.prosperitypub.com. Right there. That's where the members area is. And we're not talking channel members. We're talking... And I think there is a link for Discord in the channel members area too. It's in the channel member documents, I do believe. Dun, 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 dun. Of course, I'm not going to show it to everybody right here because this is public for all. So, right here. Potential on gold. Dropping down. This is not a support chat, just so you know, Mark. I have support people. Threw out the link for you earlier in the morning broadcast. And gold, probably going to do that. At least back to the roadmap line. That would be my minimum expectation in the coming days. Silver looks like rolling over right here. Might see that one come back to the roadmap line along with gold. Gold and silver on the same path there. Copper looks a lot like the Mag 7s, right? First move down, potential for a second move down right there. Let's check out platinum. That looks like it's about to rip. We could see a retrace off of this high from back here in 2021. But I would expect this to keep on rallying on up here to $1,900 an ounce for platinum. Palladium working on a breakout, but it's just not, doesn't look the same at this point. Still looks like that one's just grinding sideways. And we've got this kind of non-committal grind sideways here. And let's see what else we can find. Sugar, look at that drop off in sugar. That's pretty wild right there. This is probably, so we're coming back for at least a 618 retrace on sugar here. That low, that high. Probably find some support right down here around 13. And it's $13 per 100 pounds. I think that's what that is. Basically equates to, I guess it actually, it's probably $13 per 10 pounds. Equates to $1.30 a pound. think that's right. Or maybe it's, I don't know. I'd have to look it up with the sugar. I can't remember all my contract sizes. Sugar futures contract size. It is, well, the contract's for 111,000 pounds or 112,000 pounds. Yeah, it's a penny a pound. Yeah, so it's 100 pounds basically. Prices per 100 pounds. So that's 15 cents a pound. Certainly way cheaper than what you pay at the grocery store. CC1 exclamation points. Cocoa. That's still being crazy. It looks like it's going to go up for another high. Well, it does kind of look like the bubble pattern chopping here. If we break down, we can see it come down violently. If we break out, we can go for another crazy extension higher on cocoa. OJ coming back down pretty violently. Coffee coming back down. Probably going to come back to the roadmap line. Coffee. See what the KT. Yeah, probably, you know, those are almost the same. Let's see, corn. Had corn on here somewhere. I think it was right above. Yeah, there's corn. Corn coming down pretty good. So food prices, you would think they were coming back down. Beef is not letting up. This is going to break on out. We might see beef on up at 280. It's 280 a pound on the hoof. And you lose 60% when you do processing on a cow. And pork took a run here recently too. This is on, I think both of these are reacting to fears of the screwworm epidemic in Mexico. This is a breakout right here. If you haven't been paying attention, this could go up to $1.40 a pound. Right here. Pork cutout. Yeah, so food looking like it's under pressure here. And CPB, I can't remember that, but look at that. Campbell's like getting wrecked. Breaking down. Might actually make it down there. And then can't remember if HRL. I can't remember the food tickers for some reason. That one's pretty bad too. Processed food. Yeah, just food business not great to be in right now, I guess. Restaurant, different story, but food business tough. So we're to that point where we'll do requests for at least 30 minutes. I have channel members get priority, and I'll, one ticker per person per request. If I see somebody abusing it, like we've had a couple people mention to me that a couple people are abusing the request feature, feeling like they're kind of dominating the chat. So if you're, trying to pick your top 3, I guess, if you're going to make a bunch of requests, and if we got time at the end, I'll pick up some extras, but try to pick your top 3. Don't try to dominate the chat, everybody. And I'll hit all the channel members, which are the green names with the stars, first, and then I'll circle back around and pick up everybody else. So I'll do high-level analysis on daily charts. If you got questions about a specific ticker, please use a complete sentence. And if you got a question while I'm, doing your analysis, please refer to the specific ticker. And don't say, oh, I agree with that, and I have no idea what that is because I've moved on to like 12 other charts or something before by the time I get to that comment. So please use a full send it and refer to the ticker. CMG potentially bottomed. We had this support down here. Right there. We're breaking through the roadmap line today. Still got the 618 resistance, this prior high, as additional layers of resistance. But once we get above that 618 zone around 58 to 60, odds are we're probably on the upside. And looking at the bigger picture here, the move up, the retrace, could set us up for a bigger move up into the 90 area. Now, that might be a more muted move since we did a 50-for-1 split back in July of last year, but that's still a pretty hefty upside. We'll probably get a reaction and a retrace at 70 in the 70s here as we come up. Probably could bounce here, could bounce here, could bounce here. That would be something like what I would expect on the way up, like that, and maybe stall out around 100. Could last a couple of years before we get up there. CLS, that one looks like we're on the path. 164 will be the upside target there. And McDonald's bounced down right where I drew a support line and held. Still looking for the upside target. I still holding my 2 shares of the McDonald's, looking for that 330 target up there. It's pretty nice. And ASTS right here. And we blasted out through the target. Next target up 61.58. Still trying to poke through all this resistance. Holy moly. We've got this gap down we did right up here when we hit that trend line last time. And we took us looks like a full month to grind through this downtrend of highs here, right above the roadmap line. And now we're sitting at that 618 level from this high up here to this low down here, sitting right here at it. If we can poke through it, then we've got to contend with this gap down we did right here. And so that zone is resistance for Dell. And if we can get through all of that stuff, then upside probably around 200, maybe go up and hit that 240 target I had up there forever ago. Forever. We tagged the downside, so this could actually get pretty spicy, and we could see something bigger on the upside, maybe somewhere up in the 300s. It could take a while too. We'll see. And you would be sitting there going, well, you're expecting this big down in the market. Some stuff could still buck the trend. Like, we don't have to see. It's like, look at Carvana, and this didn't really take a big nasty down with Liberation Day in April. It did come off the highs here in February, but in April, we didn't take really much downside here. On Liberation Day, we just started ripping. So not everything has to go down. This has been at all-time high targets here. So don't get sucked up in, has to do something type narrative. BJ's. And missed hitting the roadmap line. That seems to be stalling out. We're not, we've gone into kind of a sideways. That also, like, there's no reaction in April right there, so to speak. We're just seeing this hum along right there. Not really going higher, not really going lower. Just kind of going. Now, if we were to tap the roadmap line here, sets up the high to the low, run the 618 line, probably about right there, and we break above it. Could go in the extension, probably somewhere right up in there. And this has been known for some violent retraces here, so yep, right around 123. But absence of that, it might just be a 4-hour retrace right here. See in the 4-hour line, smaller time frame, high low, break up through 122.84. Might be what we're going for right there. So pick your time frame. I usually stick to the daily for high time frame analysis, but that didn't mean that the 4 hour is not going to work out there on BJ's. MCD already hit. AMD, we are looking for that upside resistance right around 150, and then we'll probably get a further decline back to this area. Once we do that, that is the point where I would look to load up for a bigger potential upside. Now, if we don't hold that and we actually dropped on down, then it might go on down further, much deeper. But yeah, I know there's a lot of lines on the chart, a lot of confusion here. So let me clear this up just a little bit. Looking for that top out right around that 150 area. Then probably retrace back down right in that vicinity, back to 110. If we can do that, hold that area, potentially sets us up for this bigger move up here, maybe into the 300, possibly even the 500 area for AMD. And if we just break out now, I'd only look for 266 on the upside. So this is kind of the, if we just rip now, we'll run out of gas somewhere there. If we can retrace it, sets up the bigger potential up here. I want to see the pullback. I'm a trend pullback continuation trader. So I'm looking for the pullback and the continuation, not just the rip. So that's AMD for you. Starbucks has been sucking it up. Cannot break through that resistance right there. Sucking it up. It had this big drop back here. Kind of started in February. Big pullback. Popped up, hit this red zone here where we consolidated on the way down. We consolidated on the way up. It's kind of been a trouble zone for Starbucks. If we can get back through it, we have this bigger upside potential around 140, 150. I'd love to see it. I am long Starbucks, but right now, just kind of sucking it up right there at that resistance. Potential to come on back down. That's the downside. That low, that high. Basically an upside down roadmap bounce. Potential to come down to 70. Support right here at the 618, and then 70 if we get the extension down here. Yeah, I hit that. Already did Dell, FUTU. I hit that resistance. And upside 142 up there. TLT. So I've seen some other gurus, other Elliott wave Titian type gurus that think that this is getting to be quite bullish, but I'm really not feeling it. That was a 3-wave retrace. Didn't even attempt to get a move higher. And this just keeps being lower lows. That is a downtrend to me. I would not be surprised one bit to see continuation lower. It's not going to surprise me one bit to see that push lower. We didn't do this bullish stuff at all. Some friends of mine are thinking that that's a deep retrace and we're about to launch off, but I think 70s is probably more likely than 100s at this point. TLT. And CLSK. So miners have been pretty bearish. When you look at this, this is a downtrend of highs, uptrend of lows. That's a big triangle thing that leaves us with not a lot of place to go. Right there. And if we break down, probably going back down to single digits, and nothing strongly tells me right now that this is set to break out. But if possibly that was a 1, 2, we could potentially get up into this area right here, right now. If things got really sparky, 70, but right now, miners just not being very bullish across the board. So I have a hard time we've kind of diluted the crypto space so much that I'm not sure that anything's going to happen. I'm not sure there's going to be any kind of alt season even this whole cycle. So I'm really trying to reevaluate what I think might happen here. GDRX, GoodRX. Lee, that's been beaten down just like WBA. CVS. All these got beat down pretty hard. GDRX. That's one little move up off the lows. We could extend it just a little bit more. Possibly up into the $5 area. This is under 10 bucks, so things under 10 bucks don't always follow my plans. Different dynamics work out in stocks under 10 bucks. It just gets to be very difficult. This could pop in here and still go on down to the low single digits right there. I don't like trading that stuff, so. And does it look like a bottom in GES? It's looked like a bottom for a long time. Like the bottom looked like it was back here, like when I bought shares at 10 bucks. I actually bought shares right here. It bounced and then made a slightly lower low. And we're just hanging out about $2 above. So I'm like up 20%. It's potential for it to go up like a lot. It's got to get a lot of continuation, a lot of carry through. We've got that roadmap line resistance. We've got this $20 resistance right up here. Roadmap line just above us, right there, about 1250, 13. And then we got that $20 resistance. We get through it. We got $40 resistance, so we may bounce down, get some continuation, bounce down, get some continuation, and finally scrape the bottom of the target right in there, or maybe get a little extra excited like Abercrombie & Fitch did right there. Gap Store's changed its ticker to Gap instead of GPS. That one's not going anywhere. ANF probably still got downside to go. Bounced off the roadmap line. Came up short of the target. So GES might be the next one in the cycle. Nike also looks like it bottomed back here. I'm playing that one for earnings, so that one has a strong potential to go up also. And since Foot Locker is no more, DKS gonna buy out Foot Locker. Yeah, this one. So this popped up probably within about 5 to 10% of the buyout price, and it'll drift up into the deal closing. That's usually the way this works. And DKS probably has some more downside to go. Right there. Wouldn't surprise me. See further downside there. And ASO. Not looking very strong either. Bounce off the bottom of that. Can easily lead lower. So just not seeing that a lot of strength in that sector at all. Right there. That outdoor retailer sector. And so far, kind of went on a sideways tangent there. We didn't bounce down. We went a little deeper. This can still go down. Still be a first move down, second move down, similar to all the Mag 7s. But we've tipped the odds that maybe, especially with the close today, maybe we're going to take this right on up here to 20 before we do the next correction. Retest the breakouts and possibly take it on higher. But I can fail at any point and take a trip down here. Be careful. We do have financial earnings coming up in Most of them start the second week of July. This one pushed out to August. So I'm not hanging with the rest of them. But like JP Morgan coming up right there on the 15th. And Goldman Sachs coming up right here on the 16th. We got WFC coming up right here on the 15th. CPAC coming up right here on 16th. Morgan Stanley coming up right there on the 16th. So a lot of the bigger banks all right there in the first part of July. But SoFi, cheese stands alone out there by itself a little bit. And let's see, SEZL, that's the one I'm looking for. Sezzle. Buy now, pay later, alternate banking type thing. That just keeps ripping. Firm Holdings. Not quite doing as good as Sezzle. This might push on up to 94. Did not make it as far down as I was looking for. So this may be a first move down, retrace, and push down into this zone before we can bounce. Be very cautious. That's still bullish, but it can take a big down diversion before we go up on a firm. HIMS been kind of, I bailed on that. It had the breakout potential. I was like, something went wrong right in here. I got out because returning to the roadmap line was a real possibility, and that's what we're probably going to do right there. Something went awry in the price action right there, and I was like, nope, not going to jump out right now. And right back to the roadmap line. Now, can we hold it and bounce? That's a big question mark right there. If we get below it, watch out for a return back down to the first move down, second move down situation here very easily. So we could actually end up lower low here. Very similar to Mag 7 stuff. First move down, copy paste right off of that highest high. Could put us right down here around 21. Right in there. So something happened right there. That's not, it wasn't bullish continuation, but does potentially have a 5 up, like very shallow 2 and very shallow 4, 5. 1, 2, 3 correction. If we hold that roadmap line and bounce, if we hold this area right here, 88 or 84 would be the upside target right there. Possibly 97 above that. But if we get below that, say $37 area, probably, odds are we're coming down here lower than that price. I got off of that. I'm not messing with that right now. I'm not certain on the price action there. Don't like it. Plenty of other stuff that looks more bullish. Coinbase, the target's up right up here. 396, 440, 442. And if we get really spicy, that bigger target up there around 600. So 396, 442, 600. What we got? Hey, PPLT. Target hadn't changed. Still the same. Right up here around 160. Lily. That was had some interesting news. Doesn't seem to have affected the stock price much. This one had a first move down, second move down, hit the ideal downside target even right there. So that is in place. That worked out. Just clear it off. Go for that. We have this resistance zone on the bounce at this point. Right there. And we're below the roadmap line. So this is biased lower at the moment. Biased down. Till we can get above this right here. Then we can be looking higher. Higher right now is 1,024. And we have this. We also have this downtrend highs. So this really puts the squeeze on the resistance right here. We get through there, potential to come on up to 1,000, maybe even 1,100. But at this point, stock's at rest. We've been resting in this area since, I mean, we kind of rested here early 24, went on a trip up, came back down to rest, took another trip up, lower high, took another trip up, lower high, took another trip up, lower high. And I would be careful. If we break down below 700 again, this could take a big trip down. Bullish setup, but bearish pressure right now. Be careful. I'm not chasing that one right now. For me, I don't care for ambiguity. Like there's too much. Like maybe it's bullish, maybe it's not. And we're up there. You look at the years long trend here. And what says that this is the great time to buy? I mean, that's a lot of space to do a correction back down here. A lot of space. And see, last time we did like large giant breakout run, similar kind of topping action. Spent a long time coming back down in the same vicinity here. So we could do that again here. These things tend to repeat the same kind of pattern, so that's our long-term breakout. We could come back down in the vicinity of that, like the 200-300 area, right down in here. Come all the way back down there, test it before we go up again. So we're splitting hairs on like getting a couple 100 points on the upside versus doing like a 500 point retrace. Anyway, all right. That's to the bottom of the chat for channel members. Circle back around, pick up everybody else. Hey, I see IBM. I know I hit a few of the regular subscribers. IBM hitting targets 303. Next upside there. Daily roadmap bounce. Pretty sparky. Look at that. Bounced off, came up, stalled at the 1272, paused there for a few days, and 303. Next upside target. Have 350 above that, or 348 above that. SWBI took a retrace right back down. Still holding the higher low. Barely by a couple ticks. Bounced right off that roadmap line. Odds are we're going to see a lower low. Odds are nominal lower low, somewhere around $8. And then we'll work on a new bounce right there. At support, $8 is the extension. We did that over here. I was hopeful we'd run, but nope. So far not. So far not. So still got the same long-term pattern, just a matter of getting up and going. It's gonna be years long. No reason to sweat what's happening now. I've got a couple hundred shares on it for sometime down the road. Let's see. Probably in that for a while. And Walmart's did this big retrace after being a monster run. I mean, that went on an absolute monster run there. Crazy. Didn't look back, and then finally came back to the roadmap line. Sitting right here, consolidating just above that 618. It's tipped the odds. We're probably going up to 109. But it's just been consolidating for 2 months. I mean, it was unfazed by Liberation Day shenanigans too. So this one just been hovering. Can we break out? We just hover. It's unclear. And is, there was the entry right there. That was the entry. First close above the 618. 109.90 is the target. 67%. 67 times is, set this up in the history of Walmart. 67% of the time it works out, and the profit factor is pretty fat with 4.2. So when it works out, it makes money. When it doesn't work out, it doesn't lose a whole ton of money. But now the average 99, average trade lasts 45 days, which we're getting close to on length here from this entry. And that would be the average right there, 45. The standard deviation, though, is 35. So if you do 3 standard deviations to cover 99%, we're talking about upwards of 220 calendar days to cover this for 99%. So we'll be talking about something way out here. 220 calendar days, right about there. 150 bars, roughly. So it may not work out till November. It just grind and then pop. I base that on over like 10,000 trades. All right, moving on. Did Starbucks, MODG, Callaway Brands. Let's turn that back off. Back out the way. So that's a 3-wave up right there. That's a first move. Copy, paste. Second move. Right there. That's a corrective move. When I draw that stuff, that's correction. Continuation would be lower. And this is under $10. Like I mentioned earlier, stuff under $10 doesn't always follow the pattern. Move over, butter. After the close tomorrow. It's a bullish chart. I mean, it's set for a bullish breakout. Upside target, 180. Can it retrace? Absolutely. Here's support, right around 99. So you got 99 and 180 off of 127. So you got a $30 downside and a potential $50 upside. Right there. So you got to evaluate whether you want to stay long or not, or, what you got cooking there. ALB, grinding in here. Still downside. It's still below the roadmap line. Seems like we review this every week, and the target's still down here at 34. Nothing's changed. On the ALB Rocket Lab, upside target is 38. Pretty easy on that one. STZ, potential bottom, maybe. Could come on down to 150. Resistance up here, one at the roadmap line coming down, 190 area at this point. Then we have this downtrend of highs. If we were to get through the roadmap line, we've got this downtrend of highs. Or locally here, that's up around 220, 230. And still hasn't bounced. Still hasn't done anything to convince me we're going up on STZ right now. Mara is just hanging at the roadmap line, just under it. Pressure to the downside at this point. And we've got that resistance right there. Got that support right there. And without Bitcoin doing anything, sideways in this zone right there. Now, if we can break up, get above these highs right here, maintain any kind of pullback and stay above that, that sets up the upside pretty big, like the 30, 40, and then we can talk bigger numbers above that. We do have those highs we rejected several times in here, right around the 30s. If we can get through that, we could see some bigger numbers, but right now that'll be the resistance we got to clear once we get out of this funk right where we are. That's Mara for you. SCHW pushing on up. 91 potential upside right there. Last big bounce. Maybe even 95. I guess that's slightly higher right there. Yeah. So we're at that resistance at 90, 91, and 97, I guess, could be. Yeah, we've actually retraced it back to maybe. We've got that prior high right there at 94. We ripped right through that prior high. So we do have this all-time high sitting here. I just pop right on through that. And looking at the even bigger correction we did. There down to here. We set it for 107 and 117 here. That was a big 3-wave move down, yeah. Big first move down. Second move down. Got a little extra gusto there. So we may finally be working through this breakout here. Take us up to 107. Maybe even 117, 150. Longer term, couple years maybe. DJT. Sitting at this support right there. If we break down, 1450. Resistance, 28. Upside potential, like 60. Really, my upside target, probably somewhere around 40 right now. 30 to 40. Probably don't expect much more than that if we can break up and get moving higher. That daily roadmap line coming in right there. We're just consolidating at the 786 retrace, just below the 618 right there. So resistance here, resistance here, resistance here. And support down at 14. And L. Look for low L's. Awful choppy chart right there. Got that pullback. We've got that potential extension up to 94 right there. Certainly that is choppy. I would just expect more of that probably. It's been in the zone for a good long while, not really breaking out. Low is 8, high is 15. That's a $7 range. Probably going to keep hanging there. Low is low. Might keep making lower lows. Usually tends to be the trend. I can't say with any certainty that that's a bottom yet on that one. Market's back open. And UCO is not a chartable instrument. That's ultra. Nothing I say matters, but that's a potential 618 retrace right there. Looking for support to hold right in here. And if we go lower, might come down to 16. If we can bounce, well, might head up to 34, possibly. But USO would be the underlying chart for that. Maybe looking for a bigger retrace here. Got this low here, this high here, potential to come down like this to the 618, and then potentially bounce something like this low, this high, this low, like that, and look for a potential bigger move up like this, right there. That potential something like 48%, so that'd be 100% on UCO. If we got down to that UCO, hit all the letters, 100% from here could be 42. So if we were to bounce off of 21 or so, we could see 42 on the upside. If it was 20, it'd be 40, 19, it'd be 38, 18, it'd be 36. Kind of get the picture. So hard to just chart UCO without looking at USO. And AVGO. Probably pushing on out. 274. Upside target. BA. Downside target 160 down here. Where I expect it to come down to. Right now, we do have support at potentially at the roadmap line, but I would expect a retrace back in the 160 area. Sands might be late this year before it does it. September, October, November. Netflix. And we're at extensions, maybe up to 1400, but I would expect a massive retrace back to the breakout here. And it might stall out somewhere in here and go on a big retrace. We see that a lot where it goes for that 2.272 and stalls out in the middle and comes back down. It's been a while. I mean, we tapped the roadmap line back here in April. Just been straight up. And their price to sales is at 10. They could keep going. Making money. Support's going higher. All right, next up, PepsiCo. Can't seem to find a bottom. Just grinding at the 618. Next downside support around 117. ARKK. Upside resistance right up here at 74. BABA. I've got a first move down, second move down bias. Although we did bounce at the roadmap line so far. If we can get back through that high and this high, upside target up here around 157. But I'm thinking we take a trip down here, 80, possibly even down to 60 down here. Yeah, one of the things I saw recently on their platform is they're actually limiting coupons and coupon redemptions. So they've got there's some hurting going on with their business model and no longer being able to get the de minimis packages through without paying tariffs. So something going on with AliExpress. PDD also not looking very bullish here underneath the roadmap line. And that's Temu. So AliExpress and Temu big competitors of each other in that space. Marvel. Chips, not superheroes, underneath the roadmap line. That can be bearish for continuation lower. If we can get through the gap down up here, just coming up to the bottom of it. If we get through that, we could be looking higher. Something up around 145, 146. So I'll probably put a line in the sand up here around 87. If we get above that, probably going on up to 146. But if we turn down off of this, easily we can make a lower low down in here. Easily. And that could be a first move down, second move down situation too. Could be something down here in the 30 area. Ouch. Pretty wide, 110 point swath between top to bottom there. Potential. On Marvel at the moment, Celsius is hitting targets on the upside. I would be very careful. Put this target up here a while back. I quit messing with it, expecting another pullback. Although we can rip right on through and keep going. It's possible, but I would expect a pullback. And then some strength. So I'm waiting for that to pull back, but we're in the target. When we set up this consolidation down here, we went just a little deeper than I expected, but we're right here. I drew this target up here, and I traded the crap out of it all through from here up to here at 42, and I stepped away as we poked on up into 45. I got into it in December, my first position. So I traded it pretty aggressively from here to 42. And now I need a retrace before I'm willing to go again. Potential 5 up is complete is why. This first move up, retrace, second move up, retrace, final move up. Potentially complete right there. So I need a retrace back down to this area right around 30, 32, 33, 34. If I can do that, then it supports the next big potential move up. And it may extend it all the way up to the 618 before we retrace. Like, it's possible we get all the way up to 55 and then do this retrace, hold that area. That sets up the run toward the all-time high. That was cool. Interesting. No more chart, no more nothing. Huh? Let's see if that reloads. Probably have to redraw that. Yeah. Cool. And let's see, pull that up there. That low, that high, this potential retrace. Yeah, that corresponds with a target area right here and possibly an extension right up there. Our third move, retrace, and then go for the big target. Big final move right there. So, yeah. Possible move up to 55, but then a retrace back down to the 30s. Quite possible right there on Celsius. All right, Dava. I'd be careful. I can go out of business. I can go to zero. There's no bottom here. I'm not picking bottoms. I'm not hunting bottoms. That's a lowest low situation. PGR, still waiting on that to bounce up. We got a higher low. Several times we see these bounce off of the roadmap line multiple times before they go on up to the targets. The entry was back here. And we're just waiting. Same thing I said about McDonald's, that this could take 6 months, 150 trading days, 220 calendar days. from that entry back there. Looking for this to finish up by November. Either break up or down. Technically, McDonald's went down. Probably hit the stop out, but for this to rally up here on PGR. SBOK sitting on. And we scraped the top of my target here. Came up, hitting this resistance. This can very easily lead to a deeper push into the target on the downside. Right there. This was a first move down, second move down target. Technically satisfied it. That touch right there. Typically we see it go a little extra. This has a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little fifth wave move will be what I expect here. And I don't think we're done until we get like around 11. Something lower than that last low right there. Be careful on SBLK and MSTR. I don't know. That chart's not bullish. It's not. Doesn't have any kind of committal to doing anything except potentially coming back down to the 325 zone. And if we don't hold it, we could go deeper. If we do hold it, we can go higher. Right now, that's not looking very bullish. It's a potential first move down, second move down even. I have MSTX on this, and I sold calls right at break even. This is what kind of potential downside we've got here from 380 or 370 down to 180 here. If we did the first move, second move type situation. If we can pop, still has potential upside for 600, maybe even 1,000. It's going to have to thread the needle here, though. I'd want to see it retrace, hold pretty firmly, and bounce strongly. Just not sure there. All right. APO. Popped up with stats. Let's just clear that all off. So we're on the big picture here. We've got this big move, and we're still significantly below. Now the smaller move, which the system probably picked up that I have that scans it overnight. Probably saw that move right there. Barely got the close above. 150 would be the target right there, which did not even take a higher high to get to right there. This has been kind of, the roadmap's pointing down. That's a downtrend. Most of the price action for the last 4 months has been below the roadmap line. That's not endearing to me for a bullish trade, but so limited upside versus the downside right there. Kind of tight range. Just doesn't give me a strong feeling either way on that one. STX and rock and roll, baby. Going for the target. Look at that. That's the power potential on these. Like that, probably going right up here. Maybe 200, possibly 260. There. So when I draw these like on MU, that big picture potential target up here. STX is one of those right there. I didn't trade this one at all, but Beautiful upside potential. Another one with good upside potential. MTN. If this one can break through the roadmap line. Big fat potential upside. Really nice. Lowe's has a potential nested bounce here. Went a little deep, but look for that to hold and bounce and get some Jojo going here. Potentially up to 261, maybe even up to all-time high at 300 again. HD, same kind of nested retrace here. 618 bounce. This one's got nice upside potential right up there. 457. So if you're looking for something to go after, Delta Airlines, another one with big upside potential. That may have been it for that retrace right there. And we'd be, you know, since we're it's pretty you know, look at that spike down to 44 yesterday, and then the rally up to, you know, closing at 49 today. If we can break back above these two prior highs, probably setting the stage to rally on up here like 110, maybe even the, you know, 130, 200. I'd go 110 on the conservative side. UAL, another one that has a same similar kind of pattern here. Looking for maybe up to 200 up here, right up into here on that breakout. So there's some quite bullish charts out here, and Baba, yeah, it's Alibaba, and so there are some bullish stuff. You just gotta be kind of picker. Now RH, giant upside potential if we can find that support here. Now it could just bounce here and it's likely to find resistance at the roadmap line, but if we bounce down, we might just be able to rip through and keep going. And that doesn't have to stop there. It can coast right on up to new highs at 967 there. Be pretty big for Restoration Hardware. So there's some bullish stuff out here. Bullish potentials. Just gotta be careful where you're picking. Yeah. Another one I like, potentially bottom Merck right here. Big picture, long-term potential. Bottom in place. Moving the fibs. I don't even know how I do that. This move up right here, nice retrace. Could easily get the continuation and shoot this thing right up in here. That. Possibly even up here. And why did I start right here? It's kind of the breakout. This is a potential complete move here. Retrace, and that bigger target just goes absolute nuts numbers right there. Nike's kind of the same way. For giant upside potential. So those are just kind of some of the things I'm watching right now for bigger picture trends that might buck a bigger correction right now. So anyway, I'll be back. Same bat time, same bat channel tomorrow morning, 9:15. We'll do it all over again. Hunt for stuff moving, look for opportunities, talk about what the threats and the strengths and the overnight action might have been. See you in the morning. Bye for now, everybody.